let's continue here now. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has accepted an offer by trade union Solidarity to help recruit technical experts for Eskom. Solidarity wrote to Gordhan a few months ago, offering to help mobilise critical skills for the sector amid the recent spate of rolling blackouts. Head of Solidarity's Research Institute, Connie Mulder, says a list of engineers with the skills to help Eskom restore generation capacity was submitted 4 years ago, but the list was ignored. He says they are now checking to see who is still available. Several of these people worked at Eskom in the past, and some are just willing to come out and help. All right, for more on this now, the African People's Convention, APC, has called the move by Gordhan to accept Solidarity's offer to help with skilled personnel at Eskom as racist. Now, let's discuss this. We're now joined via Zoom by APC leader, Mr. Themba Godi. Mr. Godi, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, interestingly, Mr. Godi, you are currently embarking on protests, to seek some form of solution to Eskom's crisis. But you clearly don't see Solidarity's offer to mobilize critical skills for the ailing utility as a solution.
Well, there has to be a context to it. We'll recall that sometimes early in 2019, Solidarity, together with the current minister, stated that the problems at Eskom were as a result of an obsession with affirmative action that replaced competent white engineers with people who had no skills, which suggested that African people who had taken positions at Eskom had no skills, and that those skills resided with white people. And for that to be brought up 4 years down the line, or 3 years down the line, and be recycled or regurgitated, we find that to be quite insensitive, insultive, and a perpetuation of the stereotypes that suggest that excellence resides elsewhere except amongst Africans.
And of course, as you notice, and in you providing that context, which is appreciated, this was 4 years ago. We are now sitting in a different position as a country, particularly as it relates to the crisis brought on by Eskom and its current ailing facilities. Have you had a chance to see some of the proposals in place by Solidarity? Because, you are labeling this move as racist. Given the context, we understand that. But having revisited this and having sent that letter last month, have you had a chance at all to speak to the minister? And of course, Solidarity, I'm asking this because as you know, as I said earlier in my intro, you are also embarking on a protest action yourself to seek solutions. And one of the things that we know we need for Eskom is those critical skills.
Well, you will note that a lot of the former employees of Eskom who were white, who left Eskom, actually came back as consultants. They are the same people who are responsible for providing unsustainable solutions to the maintenance of the coal-fired power stations, who do not do their work adequately, who perpetuate their stay at Eskom. So it's not a linear issue of just looking for skills, than understanding the context within Eskom. Our take as the APC, that's why we said this issue around the need for scarce skills, it's actually a distraction, because the main problem, as we see it, is not so much lack of skills, because even that assertion earlier in 2019 was debunked by former engineers of Eskom. It is the fact that we have a policy trajectory that requires that the current capacity of Eskom through coal-fired power stations must be diminished so that we can have more renewables. So unless and until we confront that squarely, we'll continue to chase after imagined problems. Because I'm sure, being in the news, you would recall that we were recently told that there are problems of sabotage. We were told that there was problems of lack of maintenance, and then we're told that Eskom currently doesn't have the budget to do maintenance. That is what is causing the problem. So you have a whole host of problems that are being given at any given point in time to justify why Eskom is failing to provide the country with the amount of energy that we know it can. But at the root of it, we believe it is the IPP's program that is being pushed at the expense of the current generating capacity of Eskom.
Mr. Godi, as we wrap this interview, one of the things that President Cyril Ramaphosa announced in, the past few days was that there will be tangible solutions put on the table, and an announcement will be made soon in terms of what some of those solutions will be, in order to generate more capacity for Eskom or at Eskom. You are calling what was suggested as a second power utility by President Cyril Ramaphosa as a distraction. Talk to me about what you would like to see as an announcement from government.
Well, President Ramaphosa and his deputy, Didi Mabuza, have in the past made similar pronouncements around we're on top of things, Eskom is going to be okay. So in relation to this talk about a second utility, our position as the APC is that, look, Eskom currently has the capacity to generate 50,000 megawatts, and the country needs less than 40,000 megawatts. So there is nothing wrong except to maintain the fleet that we have and provide the energy that the country needs. All countries in the world are increasing their renewable energy mix, but they don't do that at the expense of their current capacity. I think that's the basic line of the APC. Yes, bring in renewables, but don't do them by destroying the capacity that we have. And let's wait for technology that can help us to harness a renewable energy better, because currently there's no such technology.
Mr. Godi, thank you so much for your time. Let's leave it there for now. That was APC leader, Mr. Themba Godi. Of course, the APC has called the move by Minister Gordhan to accept Solidarity's offer to help with skilled personnel at Eskom.